Catching up with Jonathan Lucroy, brought to you by Quick Trip.
You know, looking at your numbers, they seem to be climbing in a big way here. Was there, I mean, obviously you got up to the nice start average-wise, then the power came, and then now you're kind of doing a little bit of both. Is there something you're feeling about this, or what's the situation?
Not really. I mean, I think I was asked about it the day in Philly, and it was just more of along the lines of just really simplifying and trying to swing at strikes. I mean, most of the time, if your swing is right, it's good, and you're not getting results, it's because you're swinging at bad pitches. I mean, Ted Williams said that, you know, to quote the great Ted Williams,
he's pretty good.
He did okay in his career. He said you're only as good as the pitch you swing at. So, I mean, that's really makes a lot of sense. You know, if you're swinging at balls, obviously, you know, unless you're a guy like Vladimir Guerrero who can swing at balls and hit them out. It's weird, but you know, you get good results based on the pitches you swing at.
You took me back to Vladimir Guerrero. That makes me so happy. Because when you got out at the start, the average was good, and then I think there was, well, man, if he starts hitting for power, yada yada yada. How do you avoid screwing up your swing? Because there's been guys that screwed up their swing in the home run derby. They screwed up the swing for 3 or 4 weeks.
It's just line drives.
Talk about that a little bit.
I mean, you know, if you watch a guy in batting practice, a guy that hit a lot of homers in batting practice or trying to hit homers, you know, that swing doesn't translate over to the game. The game, you know, the guy in a game is pitching, you know, 30 or 40 miles per hour faster than the guy in batting practice is. Yeah. So batting practice, you might be trying to hit homers. Well, in a game, those are pop-ups or misses, swings and misses. So in batting practice, I really focus on trying to hit low line drives. Yeah. Because when you're hitting low line drives in BP, in my experience, line drives in BP or hard ground balls, hard line drives and low line drives BP turn into doubles, triples, homers, you know, line drives. And then they turn into a line drive swing will turn into more power than a power swing in BP.
Yeah. How do you keep that mentality, though? Because there are guys that get lost in that. They see those numbers and I can make this much more money, even as some of the mentality. Why isn't your mentality something where, you know, if I added 15 home runs and dropped 10 points in average, I might make more money? I mean, why is your mentality not like that?
I don't even think like that. I don't. You know, I know that whenever I'm right and I'm hitting line drives around the field, that when a guy makes a mistake, I'm gonna hit a home run. Yeah. And you know, if my swing's correct. Yeah. If I drop a little or if I try to lift just a little bit, I'm not gonna hit a home run. You know, so I try to keep it short, keep it simple, and keep it direct. And my bat path through the zone on a line drive plane, and whenever that happens, you know, I tend to be more successful overall in general. And I want to be well-rounded. I don't want to be a high homer, low average guy. I want to be everything. And you know, I think that all of it can work together with the correct mindset and the correct mechanics.
Okay, you're in the Raging Cajuns shirt, so I immediately thought back to your draft day. I mean, you knew, I don't know how early you thought you were going. I mean, I don't know if you've met, well, maybe even a first day kind of thing, but what was it like? Because were you sitting and staring at your...
Yeah, well, back then it was on the I think they had like the first round on TV. Yeah. And it wasn't like today, it was in 07, a little different. I think they just told the names or whatever. Yeah. I don't think they had guys there or anything. I can't remember what year they started that, but my name got called because I was in the third round. My name got called, I believe, on the second day because they did the first round, the second round, or the first round, the supplemental round, and then the second round on the first day, and I was on the second day, and I was early on in the second day. They got me, and I was sitting in our living room in our house in front of the computer listening to it, and my family was there, and you know, we had gotten a phone call from the my advisor at the time, and he was like, "Hey, I just got a call from the Reds and the Rockies, and they're both wanting to take you." Yeah. Which their picks were right after the Brewers, like literally one after. Right. And you know, so I'm going to call the Brewers and tell them if they want you, they better take you. Yeah. So they did.
Wow.
They got me.
That's a good advisor right there. You know.
Yeah, it was good. It was smart, very intelligent.
Did they pronounce your name right? Was it you know, what was it feeling like? It's you know, because they could have pronounced the name wrong. It could have taken away from the moment.
Yeah,
was it right? Yeah.
It was great. I mean, it was just you know, Jonathan Lucroy, Raging Cajun, the University of Louisiana Raging Cajuns catcher, with the 101st pick of the 2007 draft. Yeah.
And then you got a brother who did, you know, talk about. I have a feeling it seemed like you'd been like giddy about the brother, and you'd be like, all right, I got to go to work now. Was it like when he got picked?
Well, the first time they tried to, the first time he was drafted by us, which was in 2000, I don't know, 11 maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right.
11. I'm not sure. I can't remember what year you graduated from high school.
Yeah.
Anyway, that year, they actually wanted me. Bruce Seed, he was the old scouting director here. He passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
Bruce was like, Luke, why don't you come up here and talk to me, or talk and draft your brother for us? Because we're going to take him. And it actually happened. It was during a game, and I couldn't go up there and do it. Yeah. And it would have been really cool, though.
They frown on that a little.
Well, yeah. Hey, time out. So it was. Anyway, it was cool, but you know, second time I got picked, I think we were on the road, but it was neat.
Okay, because we're trying to get a little more out of you because you've got a couple weeks between getting here. As you look at the All-Star balloting and all that, I don't know if you even looked at it at some point, but you're doing okay right there.
I don't even know.
The normal names, average-wise, are a little below, but there's a couple guys right up there. When do you pay attention? Do you just that Sunday when they start talking who's going?
I don't take any. You know, the fan vote is such a popularity contest.
Yeah. And
it's based on, you know, how many fans you have, the kind of following you have, stuff like that. You know, in 2014, I didn't win the fan vote that year.
Yeah.
You know, I think Yachty won it, and you know, so it's all about fan support for that. And you know, I got voted on by the players, so that year. So I'm not even thinking about that right now. I mean, that's, you know, like a month and a half away or whatever it is. So I'm more worried about playing and trying to win some games and keep getting better type thing.
Are you keeping an eye on other guys that maybe your buddies who you came up with, or maybe other places? Can you keep an eye, like Chris is here tonight, but do you sit and check out what they're doing at times, and maybe you're even surprised by some of the things some of those guys do?
I mean, Marco Estrada's a good friend of mine. He's been throwing really well. Took a no-hitter in 8th inning the other day. Obviously, KD, Chris Davis has been doing really well. He just walked by a little minute ago. You guys probably saw me look at him, but you know, I got friends that I play with all over the league, and you know, every time I see him throwing or see him hitting or whatever, I try to pay attention. But it's really cool.
Did you ever try and convince Chris he's not spelling his name right or anything like that when he's here?
It's not, you know. I never even thought about that.
It's wrong on a lot of levels.
I don't even know how to spell. I can barely spell my own name.
That's true.
So I don't even worry about that.
I get it wrong sometimes. Let me ask you about Jimmy. We've talked about him a couple of times, but you know, he's looked upon as the ace and all this. We want to give everybody titles. Does it matter if he's the ace of this staff at this point in his career? Do you need an ace to where it all falls in line?
It's not my job to bestow titles like that, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, other people need to decide that. Most of the time it's the press, it's the media that does.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody in there wants to bestow a title on themselves, much less anybody else. But, you know, he has very, very good stuff. And, you know, when he's right and locating, he's nasty. He really is. And I've had his past couple starts have been a little rough, but for the most part, you know, he'll never stop working. I know he's going to always try to get better. Yeah. You know, he's never going to take things for granted and think that what he does is good enough. And the thing about Jimmy that's really admirable is that he really, really works hard. Really works hard. That's pretty impressive.
And if he got caught up in that stuff, because there's sometimes it's bestowed when you're year 2 of your career. If you get caught up in it, it can actually affect your mentality.
You know, reading those things about yourself is one thing. When you start to believe them, that's when there's a problem. You can't believe those. You can never believe that what you're doing is good enough, or you know, you have it all figured out. Because I promise you, and I mean, and it's in baseball, you'll get humbled quick. It's just like life too, man. You think you got life figured out, you know, you never do, and things happen. So it's you know, that's a mentality. I know he's not taking things for granted. He has a good mentality for being very, very successful.
Speaking of back to the kind of the all-star type guys, VR's getting some talk about it here. When that trade happened, it was not like a huge moment in time. Nobody stopped it. Oh, the Brewers got Jonathan VR. You looked at how many games he played each year. When a guy can do what he's doing and seem to improve on the stuff he needed to work on as the year's gone on, I mean, it's another one of those beauties of baseball type of thing. Like, I wonder what we got here, and look what you got here.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting better, and he's making a lot better decisions on the bases. Hitting-wise, he's been very clutch, been getting on base a lot. He's having really good at-bats. I mean, he's pretty much everything you want out of a leadoff hitter right now. It's great. A little bit of power in there. It's nice. And I know for a guy that I'm hitting in the 4-hole, 3-hole sometimes, you know, it's nice to have a guy on base in front of me to be able to drive him in. And it's been really impressive. He's been doing really well.
What did you see the first week or two with him? And has he exceeded what you thought? I mean, you could see he could run fast, and you could see probably hit well in BP. But what did you see, and what has he given you?
Well, you know, when I first saw him in spring training, you know, I thought he was good, but I was like, man, you just don't know. Yeah. And I never really, like I said, he wasn't the guy. Like whenever we made those trades, he wasn't the guy we really noticed. I mean, you saw his name, but you're like, oh, you know, you see the other guys like, you know, like the other guys we had traded for, and you know the pitchers in minor leagues that throw 100 and all these guys. And we got some arms, you know. That's the guys we're looking at. And you know, for him to come up and step in and do what he's done this year is really impressive, and makes that trade all much more better for the Brewers, you know, in terms of long-term success. So, you know, he's going to be a big part of that.
And again, we probably can't have a conversation without talking about dealing with trade type of talks and things like that. Do you hear more about it now? I mean, you mentioned you don't let your guy even tell you about these things, but you know, I mean, you're not going to keep an eye out for, hey, I want to go there or anything.
It's one of those things, like, it's so out of your control. You can't worry about that, especially during the season when you're trying to play and be successful. I mean, that's just one more distraction you have to worry about. So, like I told you before, I told my agent, look, don't even tell me unless it's real. Like, if there's something going on, you know, and something happens, call me and tell me. Until then, I only want to know. I just want to go out and play and not even worry about it. Because it's better that way. It's safer that way.
And to have the mentality of, you know, you guys can still actually do something here. I mean, you look at how far back you are. I mean, how realistic is that view, and how much do you make sure those guys know it's a realistic thing? That what if Willie all of a sudden gets this going? If you know, these things, guys that are hitting 260 hit 280.
I try not to play that game, the if game, the what, you know, the woulda, shoulda, coulda, the if, maybe this, possibly that. I try to keep a simple viewpoint of that in terms of go out and play every day and play as hard as you can. And do whatever and win as many games as you possibly can. Not give any at-bats away, not give any games away, not give any pitches away. Don't take any innings off, nothing like that. Mentally, you stay locked in as long as you can, and try to push your teammates and everyone around you to get better and try to improve. And wherever you're at the end of the year, that's where you'll be at. I don't think about, hey, if we do this, we're going to win. If we do that, we're going to win. The thing is that we've been on really, really talented teams, and we haven't won. You know, we've been on a team that was in first place 150 days or whatever. You know, and we didn't win. We didn't even get to playoffs. And we were in first place pretty much all year, 5 months out of the year. We were in first place. So it's like having experienced a real playoff team in 2011. I've come to learn that whenever you place these expectations upon yourself and a team, that most of the time it doesn't really work out. It comes to a point where you put too much pressure on yourself and you try to do too much, and you end up handcuffing yourself. For me, it works for me this way. Maybe not all guys, but for me it works where I focus on day by day, game by game, pitch by pitch. I'm not very intelligent, so the simple viewpoint. The simple viewpoint for me is so much better. That way I'm not worrying about tomorrow or the next day. I'm worried about right now. So,
well, on the fun end of things, so this whole look you've gone for this year,
borderline trashy.
A little bit. I mean, it's very Florida, is what I'm saying. But
a little redneck.
Was there a thought put into this? Is the family in on this decision?
I've always wanted to do it, but I kind of wanted to make sure it was formed correctly. And my roommate, one of my really good friends, Chris Capuano, obviously has a big beard going on. And when I first saw him, you know, I was like, oh my, you know, I didn't know. I'm like, who's that guy? Oh, that's Chris. He's like, hey, Luke. I'm like, what? That's Cappy, you know. he really, I gotta give credit to him.
Right.
He inspired me.
Yeah.
To be more of a man.
Yeah.
And create
yeah.
this thing on my chin,
yeah.
my face, and I've been going to a place here in town that does really good beard trims and cuts, and just really forming it, trying to get it looking somewhat classy.
Yeah, because there were a couple things you said that probably weren't as smart as I thought they were, but you did this.
Yeah.
When you said it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
Is that what you're going for?
I'm just trying to. Well, tricking people is a big part of what I do, so I'm trying to make sure. And people watching like, man, that guy looks really smart when he's doing this. Yeah. It's all, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Do you want to give a plug to the place that does your beard?
Yeah, it's actually Stag Barbershop.
Yeah.
They're over in, I think, in the 3rd Ward, and the girl that does it, her name is Jess. She owns the place. She's really good. Does a really good job.
Does Jess have money to buy advertising, you think, or not?
I don't know, but she probably should.
Yeah.
I'll let her know, but she needs to get it together.
Okay. Final question is back to the kind of a baseball-y thing. I got it with interleague play here, and then you got them again later. Just, I mean, it's been around long enough that people have their opinions, and I don't think it's changing anytime. Do you look forward to these kind of series where it's like you got Oakland a couple of times, you got interleague stuff? Do you like? Is it different? Is it exciting? What is it?
I mean, it is. You're playing against guys you normally don't play with. You're not very familiar with, but it's we played the A's here before, and so it's you can't really treat them any different. You just gotta. They're like anybody else coming in here. We got to beat them. So
yeah, and like. Do you worry like that, Luke? You can stay in the lineup, like be DH, because I know that's not your mentality. As you like to be back there. Yeah. I mean, is it something like, man, I don't want this to happen just because when we're on the road, they might want me to DH someday, and I don't.
DH is actually not bad.
You like it?
I do. Yeah.
You don't seem like you'd like it. I don't know why, but
it's different. I DH my whole freshman year in college, and so. It was one of those things that it's a mentality, and I like to be involved behind the plate, but in all honesty, sometimes you need a break from the mental and physical grind of catching and being able to get in the box, every couple innings to be able to take some hacks. I mean, it's actually pretty. It's like a day off for me. Yeah. I actually enjoy it. If I'm DHing and I got a day off, I'll be in the cage hitting or doing something. I can't ever sit still.
Are we at the time of year where you feel the aches and pains a little bit more now? Has it gotten to that at all? When does that happen? I always wonder with the catcher, it just happens and you don't.
Mostly towards the end part of the year. I mean, for me, I've been pretty fortunate. My body's been pretty reliable, and I recover pretty good. And so I try to take care of myself as much as I can, and I've been pretty fortunate so far with that.
Catch more at my24milwaukee.com.